Somebody left a comment under one of my videos and I quote, she said, "There is no way I'm giving up fresh air, lights that stay on for dirty water and move to poverty." Ask yourself why Africans are trying to come to America if it's so good in the Gambia. I've been to the Gambia and whatever, I'm not even going to repeat it, period. Okay, so wanted to do this video to talk about a point that I found fascinating that she made, which is if Africa is so good, why are so many Africans actually leaving Africa to America? As someone who made that journey, we went from Cameroon at the age of 16 to America, spent about 19 years there and relocated back to Africa, specifically the Gambia. I want to talk about this very question because if we are being fair, she's not the only person that's asking the question. There are Africans right now that are taking the back road. There are Africans right now that are applying to leave Africa to go to school and find jobs all over the world. And here I am. I had the American dream, the car, the house, the degrees, and yet I packed up my whole life, my family, with my husband, and we moved. So why would anybody choose to move from the American dream, Europe or America, and move back to Africa, as she called, quotes and quotes, a poor place? Let's talk about it during this video. So let's start by answering the question heads on. Why do Africans leave Africa to move abroad? Many reasons. Better paying jobs, education, infrastructure, specialized healthcare, career opportunity, political instability in some areas, family already abroad, so getting the family back together. Sometimes their belief that their particular dream has a better runway somewhere else than where they are right here in Africa. I want to make the point that there are valid reasons why somebody in Gambia, somebody anywhere in Africa, in India, you name the country, would decide to move to America. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and come here as somebody that has very much benefited from being in America, come here and say nobody should try to move abroad. That is not the point of this video. My point here, though, is that Africans wanting to move abroad does not automatically mean that Africa has nothing to offer. The second point I want to make around that question is that she and I are standing in different places looking at different things. So where she sees bad water, no electricity, poverty, I see something different. If I'm a 23-year-old Gambian wanting a particular type of education, career, or income opportunity, America may look incredible to me and may very well be incredible for me. But I'm not 23-year-old. I've already experienced America. I've already experienced the American dream. I've already been there. I've already seen it. I've already raised my children there, seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. So when someone says to me, "But Sandra, there's no electricity, and there's bad water, and there's insert whatever the question concern is," my answer is not that water is unimportant, electricity is unimportant, all that kind of stuff. My answer is, I've had water, I've had electricity, I've had the big roads, I've had the American dream, and still, I wanted more. And so when I say that we're looking at different places, looking at something different, the Gambia she sees is not the Gambia that I see. The third thing I want to talk about here is around, I don't see what she sees. So when she talks about the Gambia, she talks about power outage, she talks about not having electricity, she's talking about bad water, and all the things. And those things exist. Okay, those things exist, not up for debate. I've done videos where I talk about not having electricity for 6 weeks in the Gambia, where I've talked about the challenges. There are so many videos that I've done where I talk about the reality of being on the continent and the challenges that come with it. For me, and at this point where I am in my life, when I see that there's a story that I love that illustrates this point so beautifully. Somebody traveled to a country, I don't know if it was India or somewhere in Africa, somewhere, and they were asked to go scope the place, right, and come back. And when they came back, they said, "What did you notice? What can we start there? What's happening?" And the person said, "They don't wear shoes," right? Like they don't wear shoes. Nobody wears shoes. Everybody's barefooted. So there's like, to just tell you how bad it is, to just tell you how much there's no opportunity there. People can't even afford to wear shoes. They don't wear shoes. That's the first person. They sent somebody else. The other person came back and said, "They don't wear shoes. There's so much opportunity. We can start selling slippers. They don't wear shoes." That's a whole market of people that have feet and we can actually sell things to. Same country, same place, different perspective. What do you see? Not only what do you see, what are you looking at? What are you looking for? If you're looking for electricity, if you're looking for power, if you're looking for stable internet, then yeah, there's not too many places on the continent that will attract you. But if you're looking for business opportunities, because those things are lacking, because there's still so much to build, because there's still so much impact that you can make, then maybe it changes how you view what you see. Is it an opportunity? Is it a hindrance? Can you handle it? Can you not? Is it worth it for you or not? Really depends on what your intention is in the first place. And, you guys heard me talk about the fact that we have a security company here in the Gambia called Fox Eye Security that is about to be at 100. We might be at 100 guards at this point. That we started literally because we couldn't find the type of security company that we were looking for. We couldn't find the reliable type of security company. We couldn't get somebody to come to the house and inspect the house. And we had the money. We're like, we want to pay you, but we couldn't find a company that was responsive enough to come on the same day and look at the ground and say, you need one or you need two. We couldn't find it. We decided to build it. Opportunity. We could have sat and complained. We can't. Why is this? Why does this not exist? Why does this not exist? Or we could look at it and say, there's a gap in the marketplace that we can fill. That is the power of Africa right now, specifically the Gambia, is there are so many opportunities. We can either complain about them, and some things you might not be able to fix, okay? When the power outage went out, it was above us, it's beyond us. So some things you may not be able to fix because they're above your head and they're beyond your skill set. But there are many things and many opportunities right here on the ground for people that are wanting to fix and be part of the solution that feel that calling. I tell people that relocating has to be something you feel called to do. It is a trust exercise, like my sister-in-law loves to talk about. It needs to feel like a calling, like something that you feel you can contribute to. If you're looking for vacation, go to Bali. If I want to go on vacation, I'm going to Bali. Even though, listen, if you've been to Bali, it has its own challenges, but this may not be your number one place, right? If you're looking for big malls, I'm not coming here. I'm going to Mall of America. If you want the biggest buildings, I'm not coming here. I'm going to Dubai. And so it really matters what it is that you're looking for. The fourth point around this topic is to follow the money. I want to make sure that we understand that poverty and lack of value are two separate things. The fact that Africa has value is not a question. Okay, it is not. Let me break down what I'm saying. If there was no value in Africa, there wouldn't be so many global capital invested in Africa, billions of dollars invested on the continent every single year by all these different countries and companies. Whether you're talking about telecommunication, mining, energy, banking, fintech, agriculture, infrastructure, consumer goods, real estate, you find these companies here. Orange, which is a French company, a telecommunication French company, talked about generating millions of dollars, 12% of their revenue was generated by Africa. So there's no question that Africa is a player, has resources to offer the world. That's number one. I want to make sure that we are clear about that. So you can have mineral and resources and all the things, and yet your population is poor and living in poverty. So poverty and lack of value are not the same. Okay, just wanted to make sure we clarify that we're on the same page on that. My fifth point around this topic is, if Africa was so poor, why was it colonized? You understand that there was a time where Africa was at the center of meetings and conversations and countries and fights and wars because there was so much resources, whether it's human in terms of people and human and our strength, and resources in terms of mineral, our gold, our cacao, our plantations, that countries were fighting over who gets what country, who gets what part. We need this and we need that, and we're going to cut this, you get this part and you get that part. So I just wanted to make sure that we are very clear that when it comes to the continent, that the continent is powerful, has resources, that gets fought over and was fought over for centuries. Because you don't fight to control something that you believe has no strategic or economic value. My next point is around, if Africa is poor and has nothing, why are so many other countries and white people and all these different people and cultures moving to Africa? What does it mean about where they're living? Her question was, if Africa is so valuable and is so great, why are Africans moving away from Africa to settle in other countries? My question is, if Africa is so bad, why are so many people moving back to Africa? Why are white people in Africa? Why are Lebanese people in Africa? Why are Indians in Africa? Because they're not looking at what you're looking at. And what does it say about where they're coming from? I find it interesting that when an Indian moves to America, when a Chinese man moves from China to America, the assumption is not, oh, China must be horrible, they're trying to move to America. The assumption is there must be opportunities for that person that they want to tap into and resources they want to tap into, so they are moving to America, right? Why is it that when Africans move from Africa to America, to Europe, we assume that it's because Africa is lacking? Why is that assumption? If that's the case, then when an American moves from America to Africa, does it mean that America is lacking? That is the question on the table. So migration is not a ranking system. I'm going to say that again. Migration is not a ranking system. Let's be clear that the people in America, the Americans, if they're not Native Americans, they all migrated to America. So migration is not a ranking system. People move because of money, opportunities, love, climate, retirement, lifestyle, family, business, safety, taxes, adventure, culture, just to name a few reasons. My next point is point number 7, who is counting? My next point is who decides what's up versus what's down. Where we think migrating from Africa to America means success, but migrating from America to Africa means failure. And listen, I don't have enough time to talk about this here, but there are so many conversations that I've had with people who, if they are honest, their challenge with relocating to Africa is because somewhere in their mind, they've been conditioned to think that relocating to Africa means a downgrade. That relocating to Africa means a downgrade. The whole point of this channel, the whole point why I decided to start talking about making money in Africa is I wanted people to understand that relocating to Africa could be the upgrade you've been missing on. Who decided that when you migrate, when you are relocating, when you are going from the West, from America or Europe to Africa, you are downgrading your lifestyle and something must have gone wrong? And I'm not even going to tell you the number of people who, when we say to them, or especially when we were first moving, say we moved to Gambia from America, they were like, why would you do that? To them, it just didn't compute. They were like, why would you do, what would you do that? Family members that were like, nah, I wouldn't advise that you do that. Again, what they're looking at wasn't what I was looking at. The next point is I want to talk about when we talk about rich and making money, what it means. And I want to say that it means different things to different people. Again, I'm 40 years old. I have 3 kids. I have a master's degree. I went to America. I did the whole thing. I understand that this video is speaking to a very particular group of people. I also understand that going to America allowed me to put me in this position to do this video. I think because, and I say that by saying I think because my father, for example, who has never lived anywhere but Cameroon, is okay, was able to pay for my school fees from Cameroon. There are many people, parents that never left and built the continent and are okay. So I say that even with a caveat that when I say I understand that going to America gave me some advantages, I put that in a caveat because as I think about it, I don't know that I wouldn't be in this situation or maybe in a better situation if I had never left. But that's not the point. The point is I left, right? And the point is that I left and I got the education. I got all the things that I was able to get by living in America. I learned work ethic. I learned so many things that I find and I still think are valuable. So I'm not having this conversation saying one place is bad and the other place is better. I'm saying that for where I stand now and the type of life I want, I look at things differently. Do you know what I mean? Like what I value is different beyond the electricity and beyond the water. And that's the question people wanted to know. Why would you leave from what they feel is the upgrade to come to a place that they feel is a downgrade? I don't see the Gambia as a downgrade. I don't see Africa as a downgrade. I do not. I see it as a place of opportunity. I see it as a place of growth. I see it as a place where I could get my peace back. I see it as a place where my children can thrive. I see it as a place, I see it as the future. Okay, I see it as the moment. I see it as, I love the people. I love the weather. I love the vibes. I don't see it in any way, shape, and form as a downgrade. I don't. I do not. Now, if I was 21 years old, if I was 18 years old, if I was 17 years old, trying to figure out where to go to college and looking for the best colleges in the world, would I pick the Gambia? Maybe not. And so this is such a personal thing. And so I'm not saying she's wrong to feel how she feels or that I'm right to feel how I feel. I'm saying it's a nuanced conversation that really depends, again, on what you're looking at. What are you looking at? What do you want? What do you believe about the continent? What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about your parents who may have never left? And what is the situation of the country you're relocating to? We're not asking anybody to stay in a place where politics is unstable and where you are worried about your life. Nobody's asking that, right? And so what we are even talking about relocating and going, what is important to you? What is important to you? Health matter. The healthcare system matter. Does that matter to you? Like all these layers. And this is why deciding to relocate is such an important decision. It's so layered, which is probably why you are subscribed to this channel, because you're trying to make this decision for yourself in the best way possible. And you are wanting to not have any regret. So I understand that. And so I want to conclude this video by saying that it's a matter of perspective, right? And different is not better or worse. I think that it is important for us to question our beliefs. You know, it is important for us. You know, when I went to Bali, I thought it was so interesting because Bali reminded me of places. It reminded me of the Gambia in so many ways and places that I've been on the continent. And the things that people complain about the continent, I saw it in Bali, like where you can't drink water from the tap. I've seen that when I go to, I've never been to Jamaica, but when I was in St. Lucia, so many countries that you go to, there you can't drink water from the tap. The water is not safe to drink. And yet, when you think about Bali, you think about digital nomad, you think about possibility, you think about the beauty of it. But every country has that other side. And I find it interesting that when we talk about Africa, specifically, the narrative out there, and I wonder who benefits from it. You know, I found it interesting that when I walk around in so many countries on the continent, I see people that don't look like me and you, that are very much settled in the things that you've complained about, that have figured out how to live with the bad electricity because they're looking at a bigger picture for them. They're looking at this like, okay, here, there's so much potential. I'm here to do my business. I'm here to extract what I'm here to extract. They're able to see that the same way that so many people that live in America will tell you, America is great for me, but I'm not going to retire there. I'm able to see it for what it is for me, but this is not the place I want to retire. We are able to see that a place can be really good in one area and be challenging in another area. We are able to see that and hold that reality for ourselves. But somehow when it comes to Africa, we want it to be one thing. You understand what I'm saying? And I think, again, the conversation is layered. The conversation is nuanced. And the truth is, nobody is really asking you to relocate. Here's the truth. And I say this to people all the time, like, we look at Africa as a place that needs saving. And for me, what I realized is Africa saved me. Africa was a place of refuge for me, was a place where I was able to recalibrate what I thought was important, was a place where I realized I don't need as much as I think I do, was a place that allowed me to get off the rat race, was a place that was able to allow me to prioritize different things and change my value system. It saved me. And I think sometimes we miss the beauty of places, and that's all places, because we look at it from I'm not going to say the wrong lens, but we look at it with preconceived notion. And you got to make sure that you understand who benefits from Africa having one narrative. And even when I say Africa is crazy, right, because it's a whole continent, but who benefits from the stories that Africa is a third world country that needs help, that's lacking, that doesn't have, who benefits from it? And is that the whole truth about the place? So wanted to make this video. It's different than the typical videos we make, but I thought her comment was, I loved the comment because I thought, oh, wow, that is interesting. And how many more people think that, right? Think that moving means a downgrade. And if I'm honest, I didn't relocate for such a long time because I had internalized some of those thoughts as well. And I had to confront some of those thoughts as well. Because if I really thought it was an upgrade that it ended up being for me in my life, I would have relocated a long time. Should everybody relocate? No. It may not be right for everybody. You got to make that decision for yourself. The goal of this channel is to show you my perception, right? My view of being on the continent for the past 5, almost 6 years, and what that looks like And to say to you, it's not black and white, right? It really isn't black and white. It is so nuanced. It has its challenges. It has its opportunities. And for the right person who is ready for it, it will change your whole entire life for the better. All right, guys, I want to hear your comments on this in the chat. I want to hear, do you agree? Do you disagree? What's your perspective? Did I miss anything? Let me know. I read every single one of your comments. Share this with somebody that needs to hear this message, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Bye.